Do something well, and you must work hard. And if you're very clever, but only if you're very clever, you never smoke. Have friends. Listen to them if they're the right friends. Listen to them and learn, 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 learn. My name is Dieter Bühning. Dieter Bühning, I'm born in Germany and I'm still a German. I'm so old I forgot how old I am. 85. My daughters are looking well after me and everything is working except my back, which is 2 discs did come loose somewhere, and so I must sit in a wheelchair now. The mistakes you make, especially when you go on your own business and you haven't got a business background. Nobody talked on the table about business, or you're doing this or you're doing that, and so on. You have to learn a lot, and I was a slow learner, man. Sometimes I learned a bit slow. And if you're very clever, but only if you're very clever, you never smoke. When I see that today, how these poor people live, and they are addicted to these cigarettes like an alcoholic to the alcohol, and they lose their voice. They have pumps to breathe. My own daughter, my eldest daughter, has got 58% of lung capacity. Big problem. And the youngest one the same, they will not stop smoking. The other one who was here, who just fell pregnant, stopped the day she knew she was pregnant, she stopped smoking, never touched a cigarette again. Do something well, and you must work hard. Look, you hear it today, or you read it in the newspapers. The woman also, maybe the husband died or ran away, and so she sits with the house, she makes it into a crash. But because she does it so well, yeah, she's actually put her head through and made a great success, even and so on. So there are a lot of success stories in different ways, but the bottom line is always friends have friends. Listen to them if they're the right friends. Listen to them and learn, 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 learn. I married after I broke up with Hong Kong. Then I met my wife, Anne, and or Anna. Anyway, she was a Methodist minister's daughter, oldest daughter, and well, we got married. Wonderful, wonderful. I was staying in a flat in Rosebank, where all 3 of my children were born then. No, the children were well and had no illnesses. You know, when you read today or you hear the radio, sometimes I have to switch it off or switch over to some music channel. All the terrible things what can happen to children, you know. And no, my children are well. In this building, this boyki stands on one side, and on this side we sealed the walls off with PVC hanging down from the top. You see we're drilling the holes there in the wall, hanging the curtain down, and then glued the ends together. In retrospect, because I was busy in building up the business and working always hard, and I always started early mornings and so on, I didn't give them the attention I should have, which I would have. I missed it in my own life. You know, as a youngster with only a grandmother who eventually died next to me in the bioscope after having 2 or 3 strokes, and the family life and so on. But I mean, my wife should have done, I think she should have done a bit more, but look, let dead people rest. She passed away also quite a few years ago, and we don't even know why she passed away. She was here in Cape Town, she was not well, and they took her to an old age home, to a hospice, her father and the family, and they had a lunch there. And then she felt like sleeping, so they put her to sleep, and boom, she died. The actual war in the town I grew up in, Plön, one accidental bomb fell on a house, nothing else. While my birth town, Hamburg, you know, Hamburg was flattened, absolutely flattened. The people don't learn. What has changed? Everybody knows how idiotical it is to make war, and what do? Kill them by the 10 and 100,000s there in Ukraine and in Gaza. What's wrong with the people? They haven't learned anything. But on the other hand, the world has changed. I mean, look, cancer and so on was a death sentence. Today, you live happily ever after by the wonderful research and medicines and so on. That back operation I should have had, there is a doctor somewhere near Durban who does it, and another one was here. I don't know where he is now. You drive with your own car to the doctor. He does the operation, and you get back into your car and drive home. Where here, in my days, it would have been quite a long recovery time and so on. They do it through a little 1 centimeter hole into your spine, and with electronic things, they fix your spine, your disc up. Can you believe it? Fantastic. In my youth, my father ran away, left my mother alone with me, and I grew up in that house I showed you, and I went to school in that same town in Plön. No, it was a very nice life. I had a nice life as a youngster. I actually was with my mother on the Baltic Sea in children's homes where my mother was in charge. She's a qualified person in that direction. Kitchen and running a house and so on. The children from the big cities, they were being bombed. And they lived there. And I lived there before school. After I was about 5, we went into this house. And it was a wonderful life. It was the sea. You could go swimming. I built my car in the sand, sat in the car in the sand and drove. I remember that. They torpedoed ships. It was a ship full of bodies. It was not nice for me to see. But then we went to Plön, and I lived with my grandmother. And my grandfather had cancer for many years nearby in hospital, and my mother fed us all. But looking after was my grandmother, who then suffered a stroke. We had a big garden with permanent trees, apple trees, pears, plums, walnuts, and then we had the garden where all the vegetables were planted, and it was a good life I had. In 1955 to Southwest Africa, Windhoek. Now then I came to Cape Town. I was running after a little girl. She was a nurse at Godescure, but it didn't quite work out, but anyway, that's it. Actually, we were in a Christian group in Rosebank, where she also was then, although we had broken up, but we were not cross with each other. And there I met my wife. She had my own business. Very nice, you know. When you read the news today and see the TV with these Israelis, and then I think people don't think much of the Israelis, because that is murdering what they are doing there. But the Jewish people here in South Africa, so that was a different story. And Mr. Burke, I met him, he was an elderly gentleman. He said, Dieter, look here, he had a service station, not a big one, small one, but he was into old oil in drums. He went from one garage to the other, collecting it, refining oil. And yet he said, Dieter, there is the oil, the grease, there's a workshop, quite a big workshop. Outside was a lift. He said, Dieter, you can come. You're a good mechanic. That's how I started my own business. And so slowly but surely, in Benoni, where I worked, I was getting more and more back pain, bad, actually quite bad. And then I couldn't work anymore. I have a little bit of a girlfriend here. That is, so that's life. And you must do what you can do, but you must love something.